How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the fourth episode of Back in the Dugout. I am back by myself. I don't have a guest this week, but I had a lot of fun, working with my friend and colleague James Gordon last week on our show. We had a great dialogue about baseball history. He knows a lot about history. It was a whole lot of fun. It's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Television Sports Magazine website. Excuse me. But this week, I'm back by myself. Thank God I am just an absolute fantastic journalist, so I can handle the show. Yeah, that was a joke, obviously. But we're going to head right back into the news segment of the show. We're going to head right into the most important news you've probably seen all week, probably seen everywhere. Miguel Cabrera's 3,000th hit. He became just the 33rd player to get 3,000 hits in MLB history, and he was just the 7th player with 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. He has 502 at the time of filming right now, so I don't know if he's going to reach 600. Probably not, but 500 still is incredible. Just 7th player to get that feat. He got his 3,000th hit off of fellow Venezuelan Antonio Senzatella on Saturday, and his former teammate Jose Iglesias was there to celebrate the moment with him on the opposing team. They were able to hug it out, and they were able to, be there for each other. Just a younger MLB fan in me was happy to see those guys, be there for each other and celebrate with each other. And they are not teammates anymore, but some things are bigger than baseball, and they were able to share that moment together. So I thought that was pretty heartwarming. The stadium had over 30,000 people, and I was thinking, I don't know the last time that the Tigers had 30,000 people at a game. I don't know how many tickets they're selling regularly, but, they're not a great team. They're in Detroit. I don't know the fan market in Detroit, but I don't think it's tremendous. And also, the Yankee game, when the Yankees were playing Miguel Cabrera, and he was going to get his 3,000th hit when then Aaron Boone intentionally walked him in his last at-bat. I think it was the 8th inning. That was pretty cold by Aaron Boone, by the way. But, there was 30,000 people-ish there for that game. And I was thinking, when was the last time they sold that many tickets? But good for the Tigers organization, really capitalizing off of the 3,000th hit mark for Miguel Cabrera. He's just the 7th Latino player to reach the 3,000 hit mark behind Hall of Famers Roberto Clemente, Rod Carew, and fellow MLB stars, not quite Hall of Famers right now, Rafael Palmeiro, Alex Rodriguez, Adrian Beltre, Albert Pujols. Those are just those names. Those last 3 or 4 names are just 2000s baseball idols and 2000s baseball royalty. Where like Miguel Cabrera is, he belongs up there on that list with those guys: Alex Rodriguez, Adrian Beltre, Albert Pujols. Those guys, recently retired. Albert Pujols going to retire after this season. They all had incredible careers that we got to watch them play throughout the 2000s and 2010s, and even some trickled into the 2020s. So congratulations to all those guys, especially Miguel Cabrera. He's just the 3rd Tigers player with 3,000 hits behind, all-time MLB greats, historical MLB players. Everyone, relates people to. Ty Cobb and Al Kaline. I believe we did a highlight on Al Kaline either. It was his birthday or he passed away or it was some date last week or the week before. We did highlights on these guys. These guys are absolutely incredible MLB players just throughout history, historical dudes that really play baseball just extremely well. And next we're going to hop into, some injury news from Baltimore. John Means is going to undergo Tommy John surgery. He announced it on his Instagram Saturday that he needed the surgery, and, players can come back from it, but I don't know if players are really the same player. Obviously, if you're a fastball pitcher, you're probably going to have to change how you pitch. Pretty sure John Means is a fastball pitcher. It's going to end his 2022 and portion of 2023 for next season. It's his first time getting Tommy John, and it's the first time I saw that he had a significant injury in his forearm. So, you're not really going to know how he's going to rebound from this. Like I said, you can come back from it, but he said he hasn't had any significant injury like this. So, it's just kind of scary to see because he's one of the bright spots in that Orioles team. If Ryan Mountcastle and Cedric Mullins, he's the best pitcher by far. You just want to see him, get back to his form because he had such a breakout year last year. But Means said he's more motivated than ever to come back from this injury. I mean, he's had slight shoulder injuries in the past that have landed him on the IL, but this is obviously the most serious, as it is like the most serious injury in baseball, specifically pitchers. And I just thought this could speed up Grayson Rodriguez's MLB debut. He's a top Orioles prospect, pitching prospect. That has had pretty good outings this year. He's looking pretty good. So, this could bring him up sooner than later with now like this vacancy in their team. They'll probably bring up someone else first who's older and has more experience, but, you never know. They could bring Grayson Rodriguez closer to his MLB debut. The Orioles are 6-10 as of now, and Jordan Lyles is the new ace of the Orioles. Not quite John Means, of course, but, next man up. And they don't have the strongest rotation, like I said, especially with Means going down, but they are going to look to Grayson Rodriguez, maybe speed up his road to the show. Shout out MLB The Show. Story mode. Other news, which is not a great look for the New York fans. I mean, some people might be proud of it. I was pretty, that's pretty bad. The Yankee fan saga with Miles Straw. Miles Straw had beef with Yankee fans. Same with Oscar Mercado, but it was mostly Marcus Straw. Or Miles Straw, excuse me. Mercado said the fans were celebrating Stephen Kwan's injury after running to the wall. I'm a big fan of Stephen Kwan. He was on our show as the surprise of the week or whatever. He was off to the hottest starts, and I was saying this to Stephen Hayes at Tunnel Vision Sports. I don't, I'm not like a big I only care about my team because I'm from the area, and I hate that team because they're from the opposing area. I'm a Celtics fan, and I'm from New Jersey, but I like the Yankees. I don't hate if I go watch a baseball game at Yankee Stadium or a Nationals game, I'm not hating on the other. I'm not cheering when the other team gets injured. I don't really understand that. I'm more just of watching the game fan. I want to see a great baseball game. If some team's gonna hit 10 home runs, that's pretty cool. I don't really care who it is. I don't know. Some people may hate on me for that, for being a fake fan, but I'm just saying it's rude to they celebrating at cheering the guy Stephen Kwan running into the wall. I don't know if it's true, but if it is, that's not great. And then Miles Straw climbed up the wall and shouted back at fans. And apparently yesterday they released that he was telling the fans to hit me, punch me. First of all, if they do that, I think they'll go to jail. Second of all, they're not going to do that. So the fans are being arrogant as well. So I understand, but I've never seen anything like that in an MLB game before. And then Gleyber Torres went on to hit a walk-off, and then the fans began throwing trash. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? This is I don't even know, stuff in the 60s or 70s. It was there was people just throwing garbage and running onto the field. There's so much tighter security now. And I know throwing trash is kind of hard to stop from happening, but I didn't never seen anything like that with all the security now compared to the past. And that garbage hit Mercado. They said he caught it. I was like, that's pretty cool. That's an athlete right there. And it hit an umpire. And after the game, Miles Straw called Yankees fans classless and the worst fan base on the planet. Yeah, I don't know. Yankees and New York and Boston fans, they're very, they care a lot about sports. They'll let you know that they care. And sometimes they can be rude. I don't think we're the worst fan base on the planet. I think there's certain people that are horrible, not great people that are going to go there, maybe have a few too many drinks and say some horrible things. And, that doesn't represent everyone, but, there's some people that are not great. Let's just put it that way. And then Mercado said, the fans were cheering for injuries and it's not how it works and the fans need to be held accountable. And I do agree. I'm not going to say I agree with Miles Straw saying the worst fan base on the planet, but I think Mercado has a good point. You're not supposed to be doing that at all. I just thought it was a very bad representation of New York and New Jersey, man. What are we doing out there? We gotta, everyone already hates New Jersey. I don't know about New York, but everybody hates New Jersey. So why don't you just be change the narrative, man. Be in control of the New Jersey, New York narrative. And don't throw garbage at people and stuff. Anyway, on to the next one. We got Michael Conforto, the former Mets outfielder, is out for the season. He is currently a free agent because he did not sign anywhere before he got injured. He elected to get surgery on his right shoulder, and he should be ready for next spring training. And he injured his shoulder in this spring training, so that kind of stinks. Just not having. There's no leverage at that point. Like if you're getting injured in spring training, like what are they going to do? They don't have to like give you a roster spot, I guess. He was one of the top free agents. I'm pretty sure he was a top 20 free agent. He declined an $18 million qualifying offer from the Mets because he thought he was going to get more money. I don't know. We've seen a lot of this stuff in the MLB, or in the NBA. I talk a lot about the NBA, but I know a decent bit about the NBA. Like Latrell Sprewell, denied it was way different back then, but it was like $7 million a year or something. Denied it and was like, he said, "How am I supposed to feed my family?" or whatever. And I was like, well, that's just a bad, thing to say. But and then he never got that money anymore, ever again. I get people knowing their value and whatnot, but sometimes you just gotta take the money. I don't know. I'm obviously not a professional athlete. I don't know, but I don't know. I feel like at some point you gotta be because this can happen. Career security is awful, especially in football too. You gotta take your money when you get it. It's a lot different in football though. Like I said, he thought he was going to get a lot of money, but he ended up not getting a lot of money. And he had a decent, not a great year last year. Had one of his worst hitting years last year. But I did some research, and I was thinking about some teams that he could go to. Possibly the Giants. Join Yastrzemski and Jock Peterson in an outfield that's looking pretty good, especially with the loss of Chris Bryant in free agency. You could just add another bat, another call, your outfielder to that team, or the Rangers, because he would upgrade either of the corner outfield spots with Calhoun. I think he's a better player. So those are my picks for where he could go. Next, we got Byron Buxton hits the farthest home run, walk-off home run since StatCast ever became a thing. With the next gen statistics. His walk-up was in the 10th inning into the third deck against the White Sox, and the White Sox are not looking great this year, as we talked about last week with Mr. James Gordon. It was 469 feet trajectory, and it was just obviously if it's 469, it's a no-doubter, but that's so far. That's almost 500 feet. That's like a home run derby home run. Yeah, it was incredible. And I'm pretty sure it was pretty cold. And heat makes the ball go farther, I think. Do it in the cold is incredible. Complete the sweep of the White Sox. As I said, it was the longest home run ever recorded by StatCast, which came into being in 2015 for the MLB. And it was his second home run of the day, and he totaled 5 RBIs. He got a batter or a best in the box for BITD daily picks that day. I'm just glad to see him healthy and lead the Twins to the top of the AL Central as of now. They're projected to go around 500, I believe. So just seeing him get some dubs early in the season is great. And just like I said, seeing him healthy, he gets injured a lot. But seeing him just be able to crush the ball, play great baseball is just awesome. And he tied the MLB for the most home runs at that point with 6. And I didn't think he was that much of a power bat. So good for him. Getting back into the swing of things, no pun intended. Next, we have the Royals revealing their new city jerseys. They had a series of players, including Whit Merrifield and Salvador Perez. They went on to explain the jersey choices, all the little details. They have the KC fountain logo because it's a city of fountains. I didn't know that. I like fountains. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, they do have a fountain in the outfield, right? But I thought it was cool. Their numbers reflect an Art Deco style, which is really hipster, I think. The numbers are cool. Then they have "Hey Hey Hey" knitted into their neck, which is a team slogan. And I was like, that's a pretty interesting and unique team slogan. I don't know how long it took to come up with that. They have the original R's from back in the day on the jersey. They also have a fountain on the jersey. I like these jerseys a lot. A lot of the City Connect jerseys in the NBA as well are trying to do too much. I like this one. It's very simple, but it's got great colors. I love the light blue. Like I said, it's just not trying to do too much. It's just being a great jersey. It's doing its job as a throwback jersey. I don't like the throwbacks that are way too much, as I said. Now for final news segments, we are going to just talk about the bad beats I had for today or this week. I finished this week 57-36 on the picks, and that's great. Well, I was like 3 games over 500 the first week and 1 game over 500 the second week. But this week I was almost 20 games over 500. So follow the picks, man. They're looking good. They're looking very good. I'm doing my research and whatnot. So just some bad beats, some things that I was not happy about in my picks was the Red Sox lost. So I picked the Red Sox against the Rays. The Red Sox were getting no hit into the 10th inning, I think. So through regulation, they were getting no hit. It was a great game. I was worried because they were getting no hit. Of course, I'm keeping live updates. And then they took the lead in the 10th off a sacrifice fly and a triple. And, everything's looking good. You're like, all right, this is going to hit. This pick is going to hit. Then they were up 2-0. And then there's 2 outs. And Trevor Story made a throwing error. He's playing second base. He's not a second baseman. But come on, man. Like 2 outs? I don't know what you're doing to me right now. And then Kevin Kiermaier hits a walk-off 2-run home run. Like, that guy does not hit home runs. He had 4 home runs last year. Like, come on, man. Like, it just happens. It just happens to me, And the Rays, like, they're not looking great. And that's why I was like, go Red Sox. But they ended up winning. And then just another bad beat. You can never bet on or pick the Reds. They won their first game in 2 weeks against the Cardinals, which is, of course, who I picked because, as I said, I'm not picking the Reds. The Reds won their first game in 2 weeks. They lost 11 games in a row after starting off 2-2. It was their longest losing streak in 6 years. They were outscored 68-20. So they were outscored by 48. That's ridiculous. Of course I'm not going to pick them like ever. They were swept by the Guardians, the Dodgers, and the Padres, and then lost 2 to St. Louis before. They scored 2 runs in the first inning and then another run in the third. Tyler O'Neill was the only run that the Cardinals could muster in the entire game. The Reds scored another run in the 6th inning. Tommy Pham and Nick Senzel went 2 for 3, both of them. Tommy Edman, Nolan Arenado, Albert Pujols, and Yadier Molina went hitless. I mean, like, Tommy Edman and Nolan Arenado, that's more important, but, like, just all 4 of those guys, it's almost half their lineup. And Adam Wainwright, earned his 2nd loss of the year, and Nick Lodolo earned his first career win after losing his first 2 starts. So congratulations, Nick Lodolo, but, the picks, whatever. So next we're going to go to Young Gun of the Week, and we'll be right back. So getting into the Young Gun of the Week, we got a player that I'm actually going to be seeing later today if the Nationals game doesn't get rained out against the Marlins, but we have Jazz Chisholm. He is 24 years old, and he's batting over 300 over the past 7 games with 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, and 4 stolen bases. So we're seeing a great balance of power, clutch, speed, hitting for average, and just doing it well all around for the Marlins. He's leading the team in stolen bases, RBIs by a lot. Triples with 2. I also believe he's leading the MLB with triples with 2. Runs, and he's 2nd in hits behind Joey Wendell, and he's 3rd in OPS, but he's 1st in terms of full-time starters, because not everyone's getting the number of at-bats that he's getting. And, maybe we'll highlight Joey Wendell going forwards at some point because he's also having a fantastic year. But the Marlins are sitting in 2nd place in their division right now ahead of the Braves and Phillies, and I really believe a lot of that has to do with Jazz Chisholm just absolutely raking and just being an absolute menace on the base paths for the Marlins. He's going to be one of the better players going forward in the MLB, and he's just super electric. He's got such a gripping personality. You just want to see him succeed. You just love the kind of character he has, and he's showing 5 tools right now. He might not have that power, but he is showing early power this year. And he's a great fielder, power, contact, speed, fielding, all that stuff. He's doing it all really well right now for the Marlins, and they're looking pretty good. So shout out to Jazz Chisholm. Congratulations for getting the Young Gun of the Week. I know this is going to be the best moment of your career, getting the Young Gun of the Week on on the podcast. Next, we're going to go to Ozzie Albies of the St. Louis Cardinals. He's 25 years old. And this past week, He went 6 for 19 against the Dodgers and the aforementioned Marlins. He had 2 doubles, a home run with 3 RBIs and 2 stolen bases. And similar to Jazz Chisholm, showing power, showing speed with those stolen bases, showing power. I said that already, and clutch is what I meant to say. And just hitting, all over the field, getting it done. He's doing a great job, obviously, since Ronald Acuna is not playing. He's taking a lot of pressure off. And then with, Matt Olson's there, but I don't know. When you lose a guy like Freddie Freeman, I think that's like a big that can like really harm like your team chemistry. He was just the guy for that team. But I think Ozzie Albies is doing a great job right now. Just holding that team together from last year. And he's on track to hit more home runs and have more RBIs than any other year in his career. I know it's very early and extrapolation or whatnot. I think James Gordon said that last week too, whatever that word means. I think it means trends and stuff. But yeah, he's on track to do great power numbers. And the team's missing Acuna, as I said, a great power hitter for them. One of their better hitters, probably their best hitter. So he's stepping up. Ozzie Albies doing his job at the plate, and they're not doing great right now, the Braves. But Ozzie Albies is doing great. Obviously, you want to see that from a young player at 25, and just going forwards, he's going to be very good. I don't think I need anyone to I don't need to tell anyone that Ozzie Albies is going to be very great for a long time. Excuse me. And right now, he actually has more home runs than Marcell Ozuna, Austin Riley, and Matt Olson, who are power dudes. I know Matt Olson, I think, has 1 home run, but he those 3 guys are they're home run hitters. So I just thought it was cool that he had more home runs than all of them. So let's go, Ozzie Albies. Shout out to you. Keep doing what you're doing for that Braves team. And finally, for our Young Gun of the Week segment, we have Logan Gilbert, a pitcher of the Seattle Mariners, who I believe is going to be pitching later today. But as of recording, we're going to go with it right now. So if he has a bad game later, don't come after me. Don't come at my neck. He's 24 years old. He got his second win of the season against the Rangers. He went over 6 innings, so I think it was 6 1/3, allowing no runs and struck out 4. Not great strikeout numbers. Doesn't matter. Not letting up any runs. It just might not just be. He might just not be a strikeout guy. 4 still is pretty good. The Mariners won the game despite losing their manager, Scott Servais, their third base coach, assistant coach, and they also were without Mitch Haniger, Luis Torrens, and pitcher Paul Sewald. So just a really depleted team. He went out there and got the job done. You could be missing guys if you're not letting up any runs. You just need to score 1 run. So good job, Logan Gilbert. He's 2-0 this year in 3 starts. He struck out 15 batters in 60 innings. So not tremendous strikeout numbers, but he doesn't need them because he's allowed just 1 run for a .54 ERA. He could be getting the ball in play, but, the teams are making outs. So congratulations to Logan Gilbert for finishing out our Young Gun of the Week, and we are going to Old Head of the Week next. Hopping back into Old Head of the Week. Old head is a term of endearment. We're going to say it again because they might be old, but they are great baseball players. Doing great things forever. Doing great things for a very long time. So we just want to highlight these dudes. We're going to go with Eric Hosmer of the San Diego Padres. I was thinking about this. I think I'm doing the old head cutoff, or starting at 30, and then the young gun would be 27. I don't know. Maybe I should put them right on each other. So 30 would be the old head, and under 30 would be the young gun. That sounds like a good idea. I'll probably go with that. But he's 32. He's 7 for his last 14 in 5 games with 2 RBIs and a double. He's one of the top hitters this year in the MLB in terms of average. He's not supplying power as we saw with those numbers, but I don't really think that's what they need from him right now, especially with better hitters when Tatis comes back. And Manny Machado absolutely clubbing right now. He just needs to get on base. And it's good to see Eric Hosmer. He hasn't been that guy for San Diego that they really thought they were going to get when he came from Kansas City. Just an all-star in Kansas City, absolute deadly hitter and a great fielder. He's struck out a lot, and his power has taken a dip since coming over from San Diego. It just could be the pressure, could be getting older, could be, stepping into a role that, like I said, a lot of pressure. They spent a lot of money that offseason, the Padres, and just bringing him, he thinks he's got to do too much. But he's looking great this year, as I said. Him and Machado are kind of like the only bright spots of the team right now. They're looking all right. But, of course, without Tatis, and he's the best player, one of the best players in the MLB, and is going to be one of the best players in the MLB for a long time. But, Machado and Hosmer are doing the best they can. And the NL West, that division is incredible. Just looking even more competitive with the Rockies now. Just everyone but the – it's like the AL East. Like, there's 4 teams that are absolutely disgusting, and then 1 team that's, like, not good. Shout out to the Orioles and Diamondbacks. But, that division is looking incredible. And, the last year it came down to the wire with the Dodgers and the Giants. And, the Padres were But now they also got the Rockies. 4 teams that are playoff teams, I would say. So it's going to be harder for them. And, maybe Eric Hosmer will put them over the, the hump, get a wild card with the new expanded wild card. The Padres are missing Tatis, as I said. But Hosmer has been a pleasant surprise for them, so congratulations, Eric Hosmer. And next we got Salvador Perez for the Kansas City Royals. He's only I thought Salvador Perez was older, to be honest, but he's only 31 years old. He's 7 for 20 this week when he played against the Twins and Mariners. He hit 2 doubles, 3 home runs, and brought in 4 RBIs. Despite going 2 for 4 in those 6 games. Oh, the team went 2 for 4 in those 6 games. Yeah, the Royals are not very good. Sometimes they upset my picks and whatnot, but they're not a long-running team that you're gonna want to pick, and like they're just kind of chilling. We'll talk about it in a little bit. They're just kind of waiting until a couple of years. Perez hit a 3-run home run against the Twins to put the Royals above. To put the Royals above them and get one of those wins, one of those 2 wins that they got. Apparently he was dealing with vision issues, so he couldn't catch, but he could hit. And I was like, how does that work? Like, I mean, I understand you can't catch because you might get hit in the face with a baseball or whatnot, but like, how are you hitting if you have vision issues? That was kind of confusing to me. But he still is absolutely dealing and raking with vision issues. So that's even more impressive. He's coming off one of the best hitting seasons of his career. He led the league with 48 home runs, obviously, last year, and 121 RBIs. And I think he hit the most home runs for a catcher ever. Because, catchers aren't really hitters. Mike Piazza was. But, like, usually when you're a great hitting catcher, you're not a great fielding catcher. Gary Sanchez, what's going on? But they were he was looking great on both sides and had one of the best hitting years of his career, as I said. He was a 2021 All-Star after not being an All-Star since 2018. And he's been great since that 2020 shortened pandemic season. Specifically this year, he leads the team in home runs, doubles, RBIs, and is second in OPS behind someone we'll get to later. But I'm not going to spoil it yet. He's been a great 3 or 4 hitter for the Royals since, somewhat stepping into this absolute power spot. If you play the show, you can, equip, bats and, batting gloves that give you +7 power or whatnot, and I genuinely think that's what happened. So he's got cheat codes and whatnot to this MLB thing. And KC is projected to be around 500 this season, and this is what I was going to allude to earlier. But Perez is inked in until 2026, so there's time for Witt Jr., Edward Olivares, and Alberto Mondesi, he's a little bit older, but still young, to grow. These infield guys, and Olivares is an outfielder, I believe. But these could be their new core with Perez. He's aging great. He's, like I said, I thought he was older, but 31, not the youngest guy, but he's still looking like a very productive catcher, very productive hitter, and someone that could be a very good complementary piece in your lineup. So congratulations, Salvador Perez. And next week we are going to Surprises of the Week. We'll be right back. So next up, we got Surprises of the Week. we're starting off with a Yankee who is a new Yankee, Isaiah Kiner Falefa, or IKF. I think it just goes with the territory of playing shortstop for the New York Yankees since Derek Jeter. There's just incredible pressure on you to perform like the captain, even though Derek Jeter was not a great fielding infielder. Shout out to my grandfather and my brother who absolutely don't like Derek Jeter. And also, Alex Rodriguez was a better fielder, and then they stuck him at third because, it was Derek Jeter's team. Whatever. But regardless, there's a lot of pressure on IKF, obviously, to be the shortstop. In the recent past since Derek Jeter, I know you got Didi in there. Other players, Tyler Wade, I guess. But there's a lot of pressure on him, and this week he's done really well since starting off pretty cold. This week he was 9 for 22 with 2 doubles and 5 RBIs. He entered this week batting just over 200 at 214, but now he's brought his batting average up to 300. He absolutely dominated the Tigers and the Guardians, and he's looking like one of the most consistent and best hitters on the Yankees right now. And he came over in that deal with Josh Donaldson, who was supposed to be like the hitter of that deal, I believe. In my opinion, at least. Like, Josh Donaldson's not like the fielder. He's not. So he's an older gentleman who the Yankees tend to get older players who are not as great at fielding anymore, but like still have some pop in the bat because the stadium's a little league field. But Donaldson, I believe, is supposed to be like the hitting part of that trade, and IKF, although he had a great year last year, he was more like the fielding aspect of that trade. But I think he's looking like a better hitter than Josh Donaldson right now. Like I said, it's early. I feel like we're going to be saying that for the first couple of shows, obviously. But he's looking like a better hitter than Josh Donaldson. He's a career 268 hitter. And as I said, he had one of his better hitting seasons last year. I think he batted just under 280. And he's not a power guy by any means. But I wrote in here, Yankee Stadium makes heroes of us all. Like, it's so small. You can make anyone a power hitter. You can hit 50 home runs if you just hit it in the right spot. I think I alluded to this in the past, but Giancarlo Stanton's home run on opening day was literally like 317 feet or something. It snuck over the wall. But, besides that, he's holding down shortstop, of course. And, no hate towards Glaber. Glaber is not a great fielder. Obviously, I think everyone knows that. Better hitter, slowed down in the hitting department, but was definitely known for his hitting. So just IKF definitely an upgrade at the fielding aspect of shortstop. And I know Glaber plays second now sometimes, but he's not a great fielder. And he might not be the guy that Yankees fan wanted. Obviously, there was bigger shortstop free agents. Trevor Story, who I was amazed didn't get on a new team during last season before the trade deadline. And of course, Carlos Correa. The Astros. The Yankees would love to take the Astros shortstop, but they were not able to do that. But they did get it, I think they could have gotten a better shortstop, obviously. I don't know. I mean, Trevor Story is like all right now. Carlos Correa is looking pretty good. But I think IKF is having a pretty good, start of the season after starting off slow. He's really rebounding, and he's one of the better players on the Yankees right now. So, shout out IKF for being a surprise this week. Next, we got not a great surprise. We got the other type of surprise. We got Mookie Betts for the Dodgers. One of the best players in the MLB, MVP candidate, or MVP actually winner at one point. But MVP, perennial MVP candidate. He was not looking great this week and just has been struggling all year. He went 4 for 19 this week. Excuse me. 2 of those hits were home runs. But he did strike out 7 times. So he had more strikeouts than hits this past week, including on Saturday when he went 0 for 5 and 0 for 4 on April 19th. Betts is just representing their entire lineup, not really hitting that well. Justin Turner and Will Smith have really struggled at the plate. The newly acquired piece, not as new, Trey Turner was last year, but Trey Turner and Freddie Freeman have really shouldered the load right now. Freddie Freeman's looking like one of the best free agent signings in the offseason. I mean, he's just the best player. But those two guys are really holding it down while some of the older Dodgers are really not performing well. But Cody Bellinger's he's having a pretty good year so far, rebounding from whatever last year was. And his injuries just have really limited his production. And Chris Taylor is also performing pretty well, outperforming Betts, as I said. Betts is a career 295 hitter, and he hit 345 in 2018 when he won an MVP. I don't know, like, whatever they say, like, Hall of Famer is like 300. So whenever anyone hits like 345, I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, that is incredible. That's like high school numbers. But you're facing elite pitchers. It has not hit as well since coming to LA, but we've said this before about someone else. That's not really what he's there to do. If he hits great, it's great, but he's primarily just an absolute demon in center field and in right field, in the outfield. Right field, actually. He should be hitting better, but the Dodgers are looking pretty good right now. I think they're number one in the certain power rankings to win the title still. But, you want to see Mookie Betts do better just because he's a great baseball player. Finally, we're talking about Andrew Benintendi for our last surprise. And we were talking about Salvador Perez, and we were going to say, we're going to get to his teammate later who has the higher OPS than him, and it's Andrew Benintendi. He's gotten off to one of the hotter starts in the MLB this season. His former teammates Jackie Bradley Jr. and Mookie Betts are not looking too hot as that elite outfield in Boston. He was 9 for 21 this week with 2 RBIs. He's leading the league in average so far at 388 this season, and he normally hits around 280, but he's just strides ahead of himself and everyone right now. It just is looking incredibly hot. He lost his 2020 to a rib injury, and I saw this article on his 2021. They were like, it was 4 seasons in one, and basically what they meant was he had a very slow start where he hit under 200, I believe, then had a very productive stretch from April to June where he hit like around 300, and then he re-injured his rib from July to September and was not looking good at all, and then finished very hot in the end of September. So I thought that was interesting. They brought him in. I also saw they brought him in to like bring stability to the lineup and whatnot, but that is not stability. But this year he's looking very stable. He's the highest OPS slugging OBP of his career thus far, and he's the best hitter on the Royals right now and an above-average fielder. So he's just doing great things for himself. He's really one of the bright spots of the Royals, who I said are like not a great team, 500 team, really not looking to do anything this year. But he's really showing promise. Along with Salvador Perez, Bobby Witt Jr. looks very good. So they're going to be looking to do things in maybe a year or two. So congratulations, Andrew Benintendi. And next we're going to go to Prospect of the Week, where we have 2 shortstops, actually. So we'll be right back. So for our Prospect Watch / Prospects of the Week, we are going with 2 shortstops, as I said. 2 young guys that are really showing great promise in their minor league organizations for their big league clubs. And there's some top prospects, not top 10, but up there, top 20. So 20th best prospect is still incredible. First, we're going to go with Marco Luciano. He is a member of the San Francisco Giants organization. He was signed in 2018, and he's the 13th overall prospect and the top Giants prospect, who is currently in high single A right now with the Eugene Emeralds. He's hit 6 for 19 this week, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, which are just tremendous numbers. He's looking very good in Eugene. Great power, great clutch, as we've said before. In 2021, between low and high A, he hit 258 with 815 OPS. Those numbers don't really stand out to you, but they are a great baseline for him to start at, specifically because he was 19 years old last year. He's currently 20, and he started playing pro at 17. So establishing that continuity, that baseline at a very young age is very good, especially when you're such a highly touted prospect. You want to be, starting somewhere good. He makes up a bright young infield, not duo because there's three, but a little rotation with Thairo Estrada and Mauricio Dubon, who are currently in the MLB now. Excuse me. Luciano's ETA is a bit later to get to the MLB, so we'll see how those other two guys, Estrada and Dubon, play out over there. But by the time he gets to the MLB, he might be looking like a replacement for Brendan Crawford, who's getting up there in age. I believe he has a great couple of years left in him. Obviously, one of the best fielding shortstops, I think, ever. Had a great hitting year last year. I don't think he's off to the same start this year, but just a possible replacement for Brendan Crawford going forward. We got Marcelo Mayer for the Red Sox. He was a 2021 fourth overall pick out of Chula Vista. He attended Eastlake High School. He's the MLB 14th prospect. He's only 19 years old, and he's the Red Sox top prospect playing with their Salem minor league affiliate. He was 8 for 25 this week with 2 doubles, 1 home run, and 2 RBIs. As I said, he's 19 years old, similar to Luciano, just a really young kid, younger than me, obviously. And they're doing incredible things. And if you're starting out that young and you're playing professional baseball, you get really accustomed to the environment. You learn to deal with failure. You learn to deal with, the industry and stuff like that. Excuse me. I'm coughing a lot. He hit 275 in rookie ball last year, but he did strike out a lot. I mean, that's kind of like the MLB at this point. Also just a young guy. Striking out is a really big problem in the MLB. And I don't know really where he fits as much as Luciano, because that Red Sox infield is pretty locked up until 2026, 2024, 2028, with Bogarts being locked up until 2026 and Story locked up until 2028. So I don't really know where he fits into that, equation, but his ETA is 2024, similar to Luciano again. These guys are real young, so there is time to see what happens. They could get traded. Someone above them could get traded. They could switch positions. You never know what's going to happen. These guys are looking really good, though. So there will be a spot for them as the MLB is really turning over in age. So congratulations to those guys. And next we got social media moments of this week. So we are going to move on to social media moment of the week. We also got some water because I was having a coughing fit because, the allergies down here are absolutely terrible. Probably the worst allergies I've had in a very long time since, I played baseball in middle school. In the summer and the spring when those trees absolutely get you. They've been making me kind of sick recently. But speaking of sick, we're going to go to Lucius Fox throwing up on the infield, absolutely unloading his lunch. I like that, unloading his lunch. But the Nationals' rookie third baseman threw up just 2 pitches into the game on Sunday. And the announcer actually said, I'm just going to go out on a lim and say the first play by Lucius Fox is going to be incredible. It wasn't a play, but what he did was incredible and incredibly disgusting. I'm sorry, Lucius Fox. It was just really weird. But I hope he feels better. He was replaced by Miguel Franco. And then Jock Peterson went on to hit a leadoff home run. And all this happened in the same at-bat. So I thought it was a pretty exciting start to a Nats game. The Nats fans want some exciting news this year. But also I found it pretty weird. Getty Images and the live broadcast cameras had perfect pictures of him throwing up. Clean. Just crystal clear. I was on Getty Images looking for pictures to use for the score updates and the picks. And they just had it was front and center, crystal clear HD, and then the broadcast cameras are just filming him. I'm what are you guys doing? This is probably very embarrassing and messed up. But it's their job. So I thought that was pretty cool. Not cool, pretty disgusting. The whole moment just kind of summed up the Nationals' loss. And I made a meme of it, of him throwing up and then the score and whatnot. But it also sums up their season as a whole because they are currently 6-12. And for our second moment, we have Kyle Schwarber going absolutely buck on Angel Hernandez. I was watching this game very closely at the end because I did have it was a very tight game. It was 0-0 when I put it on. Ended up being 1-0. I had the Phillies, so I was really watching it intensely. And Schwarber got up in the ninth. It was 1-0 with 2 outs. Or there was 1 out, and then he struck out on a full count on a slider that was very far off the plate. And, the Brewers got a great closer that he worked a full count walk. And Angel Hernandez kind of gave him a tough call there. He literally immediately threw his bat, struck out and just threw it, 2 hands, like over the head. I thought it was very funny. Then he threw his helmet, and then he just went at Angel Hernandez, just right in his chest. And Angel Hernandez, he gets a lot. Everyone hates Angel Hernandez, and I hate's a strong word, and like I said, I don't hate a lot of players and stuff like that. But he does make a lot of mistakes, and he's, it's a hard job, but then don't do it. I don't know, use robots and whatnot. But he made a mistake, and it was pretty bad. He struck out Bryce Harper on a ball earlier in the game. Both teams were annoyed with Hernandez, and I saw a stat that 6 people struck out on pitches outside the zone. And his ratio for missed calls on calling strikes balls is way over the league average. And everyone seems to have a problem with him. And just him being there takes over the game. You're thinking about Angel Hernandez, how much he stinks. And I don't hate, hate's a strong words, but he does. It's not great. He's not great. And Pedro Martinez called him as bad as there is, and he's a pitcher. So I feel like he knows, everyone knows the umpire, obviously, from hitting, but, pitching-wise, you're with that guy all game. And I think Kyle Schwarber just, on this point, did what everyone else was thinking. Everyone was dang, this guy's not doing great. And Kyle Schwarber, there was 2 outs, so he's it doesn't really matter. I'll just get thrown out of the game. But, props to Kyle Schwarber for standing up for himself. Next, we're going to move into today in MLB history and some obscure athletes. Right, we'll be right back. Finally, we are getting to our historical section of the show. I like this the most because it's a lot of fun, interesting, research and whatnot. And I like learning things about sports. So let's just get right into it with 19. We're going to travel to 1971. We are going to see Hank Aaron's 600th home run. He joined Babe Ruth and Willie Mays as the only players with 600 home runs at that point. Mays was also still active while this happened, but he had 633 home runs, so he was a little bit ahead of Hank Aaron, of course. Hank Aaron homered off Sonny Jackson in the 3rd inning, and the ball went 350 feet. I want to know how they track that, because it was the 70s. They got a lot of technology today to do that, projections and whatnot. So I want to know how they did that. Did they eyeball that? Is it all just legend? Anyway, I thought that was cool. Hank Aaron was mobbed by teammates at the plate. It was only Hank Aaron's 2nd home run off that pitcher, Perry. Gaylord Perry, I believe it was. And Aaron finished with 755 home runs and an all-time record of 2,297 RBIs. So, obviously, incredible numbers. We know who Hank Aaron is. He was a 25-time All-Star, MVP, World Series champion, and Hall of Famer. Everyone knows who Hank Aaron is. He's one of the best baseball players of all time, best hitters of all time. And Bonds went on to beat that home run record, but everyone knows the Barry Bonds asterisk. We talked about Barry Bonds last week. I like Barry Bonds as a hitter. I don't know about the home runs, though. Batting average and whatnot, that's, very credible. But home runs, I don't know. I like to think Hank Aaron was a little bit better, but that's just me. And then we go to 2012. We got Bryce Harper and Mike Trout getting called up on the same day. Talk about some young studs and still looking like studs right now. The Los Angeles Angels called up Mike Trout and also parted ways with Bobby Abreu the same day. Before Trout was called up, he was hitting 400 in AAA with 4 doubles, five triples, a home run, and 6 stolen bases. Oh my God, excuse me. So just doing all the power, hitting everywhere, having so much speed. Like we all know Mike Trout, not as much speed anymore, obviously, because he beefed up a bit and is kind of just focusing on other things like power. At that point, the Angels were 6-14 through 20 games, and as I said, it was the same day that Bryce Harper was called up. Harper spent 20 games in the minors between single, double, and fall league the year before. Harper hit 23 home runs with 30 doubles and stole 30 bases. So similar to Mike Trout, just power, power, hitting all over the field, and insane speed. Both, of course, when they were younger. They're both not like speed demons per se now, but both went on to win Rookie of the Year in their respective leagues. Both were All-Stars in 2012, and Trout stole 49 bases. I was like, that's incredible. That's like 50 bases. I don't know. Like, I feel like that's a lot. And that was to lead the league as a rookie because he's Mike Trout. Both have combined for 5 MVPs. Mike Trout's got 3, so it's kind of even there. 10 Silver Sluggers. I think Mike Trout has 8 of those. And 15 All-Star games. Mike Trout has 9 of those. So, excuse me. Trout has had the better career, but he has dealt with a ton of injuries recently. You know, so has Bryce Harper, but Mike Trout's really been like hindered these past couple of years with injuries. And Bryce Harper went to a new team, so there was all that drama. Mike Trout's been there with the Angels his whole career, so, you know, both guys doing their things, but, you know, having slightly different careers thus far. We're going to go to 2015. For a more serious tone, we got the Baltimore Orioles game canceled due to protests against police brutality. The game was protested because the stadium didn't believe they had enough security and there were safety concerns and whatnot. The protests were in the surrounding areas of Baltimore. The stadium was fully closed down, and the unrest was due to the death of Freddie Gray, who died in police custody. You know, just a horrible thing that happened. Excuse me. And a horrible thing for this country. As I said, they didn't have enough security for the game, didn't feel like they could play it. So then they played the game 2 days later with no crowd, and it was the first game in MLB history without any fans. And there was reporters and whatnot, team staff there, kind of like the bubble. I think this is like a precursor to the bubble, but no fans at all. The Orioles went on to win and beat the White Sox, which is pretty good. Go Orioles, just when they were like, all right, I guess now they're, you know, whatever they are. Ubaldo Jimenez was pitching, not when he was with the Rockies as great as he was, but he was pitching for the Orioles. Oh my God, I remember Ubaldo Jimenez was like the best pitcher for ever, for a month. But he threw 7 shutout innings. Jeff Samardzija allowed 7 runs for the White Sox. Another guy that we forget all about. Probably not forget all about, but, you know, not that big right now. And then we got Manny Machado. He went 3 for 4 with a double and a home run. And Chris Davis. Oh, Chris Davis. Whatever happened to him? I'll tell you what, he's a thief. He stole all that money. But he hit a 3-run home run in that game. Okay. Ooh. Next we got birthdays. We're going to go to Roger Hornsby. Everyone hears about Roger Hornsby. He would have been 126 today. Sadly, he passed away, of course, because I don't know if anyone's been that old ever. His nickname was the Raja. I like that. It sounds pretty cool. I guess it's like a play on words of Roger, but it was pretty interesting. Hall of Fame class in 1942, also named to the All-Century team, played from 1915 to 1937, so a while back, over 100 years ago. Won the 1926 World Series, won MVP in 1925 and 1929. He won the Triple Crown twice in 1925 and 1922. He led the league in batting average, This is something I found unreal. He led the league in batting average, OBP, slugging percentage, OPS, and OPS plus for 6 straight years. What is happening? Like, usually, like, there's one person that's better than you, whatever. No, just the best all-around hitter in the entire league for 6 straight years. He finished with 2,930 hits, so just shy of 3,000. He had a career 358 batting average, which was the third best ever. And he hit 424 in 1924. 424, man. Like, what? And just 358 career batting average. We're talking about Mookie Betts before who hit like 345 or something. And I was like, that's crazy. 424. That's JV numbers. If we call the other numbers high school numbers, that's JV numbers or like T-ball numbers, bro. He also managed during his last 13 years playing, and then again briefly in 1952 and 53. He also was fast. They also made a note of this. He was very fast. He had 30 inside the park home runs in 12 years. So what is that, like 2 point something? Imagine just getting 2 inside the park. Like if you get 1, it's like a whole thing now. I mean, I guess it's different. Like I don't know, but it's really not a thing anymore. And then he led the league in triples 3 times. So once again, more like a Trey Turner type guy. Triples are also very hard to come by. Not as hard as inside the park home runs, but still incredible speed from my boy Roger Hornsby. Passed away in 1963, and he's known as one of the best hitters ever. And I mean, with all those stats, those 6 years in a row leading and all those things, I would agree. Next, we got Corey Seager is going to be turning 28 this Wednesday. 2-time All-Star in 2016-2017, his rookie year and his second year. 2020 World Series champion and NLCS MVP, where he hit 310 with 5 home runs and 11 RBIs in 7 games. That's just elite. And then he won World Series MVP, hitting 400 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs in 6 games. Not as much power, but definitely the contact and the and the average in the World Series. Just an incredible playoff performance for Corey Seager. 2-time Silver Slugger, 3rd in MVP voting in his rookie year when he hit 308 with 193 hits, 26 home runs, and 40 doubles. He was an absolute menace for the Dodgers, and he spent time with them from 2015 to 2021, and then he came over to the Rangers because he's an absolute dog with Marcus Semien, and I think he got the largest contract ever in the MLB. And this year he's hitting 272 with a home run and a double. And the Rangers have looked not great, but they did bust my pick yesterday against the Astros, who are without Jose Altuve right now. So, at least you did that. At least you did that, Corey Seager. And the Rangers. Finally, we got J.D. Davis. He's turning 30 years old today on Wednesday. He's played with the Astros and the Mets. I don't really remember him on the Astros as much. I know him a lot more for being on the Mets. He's a third baseman. Debuted in 2017. I thought he was a lot older than that. Like, he's 30, but I thought he debuted a lot earlier than 2017. He's a career 271 hitter with 39 home runs and 50 doubles in, 5 years? So he's got a long way to go. Had a short career, nothing very notable as of now, but happy birthday to J.D. Davis, Corey Seager, and Roger Hornsby. Rest in peace, but happy birthday. Next, we're going to go to Obscure Athlete. So to round out the show, we're gonna go to Obscure Athlete. I had to cut it short because I keep coughing, man. I don't understand what's happening, but I'm pulling through for you guys right now. So our Obscure Athlete is Bob Tewksbury. He went to Rutgers, shout out New Jersey, State School, New Jersey. Didn't want to go there though. Rural Maryland, better team in the Big Ten. We are both kind of the punching bags, but we're better. And also St. Leo, which I've never heard of. He was drafted in 1981 and then made his debut in 1986 with the Yankees. Go Yankees. He played with New York, the Cubs, the Cardinals, and the Cardinals is where he certainly had his best years, had an all-star appearance. He then went on to play with the Rangers, Padres, and Twins towards the end of his career. He was an all-star in 1992 with the Cardinals. As I said, he was 16-5 with a 2.16 ERA, with the highest winning percentage in the league that year. I think it was around 0.7 something, 0.75-ish. So the highest winning percentage that year. Highest walks per 9, or best walks per 9 rating and strikeouts per win rating. So just a very effective pitcher with not walking people, keeping people off the base paths. He walked 20 batters in 233 innings. I feel like that's just mental. That's just incredible. I don't know, 20 batters. I feel like people do that in like half the innings, maybe even less. But shout out to him. He has the lowest walks per innings pitched for any starter since 1920. Excuse me. And he was like third or fourth since like the 18 somethings, but I don't even know who those people were. But this guy, like being a one-time All-Star, was incredible at not walking people. He was third in Cy Young voting in the 1 year he was an All-Star. And he went on to finish his career with 110 wins, 102 losses, with a 3.92 ERA. So the record's kind of iffy, but the ERA is definitely not bad. And he had a long, successful career. Didn't walk a lot of people. He was known as a control pitcher and change-up artist. Not a big strikeout guy. Just kept the ball on the ground, kept people from getting on base, and just got a lot of people out. Tried to keep people off the base paths, so very successful. And also in 1997, excuse me, I think he was like one of 4 pitchers to ever throw an ephus in a live game. The ephus pitch, I don't even know what it is. It's just like goes like really high and drops. Everyone tries to throw it when they're a child, but it's basically just a curveball when you try to throw it as a kid. But the real ephus pitch, he threw to Mark McGwire, and he got him to ground out on it. And Mark McGwire was on steroids, so good job to our boy Bob Tewksbury, getting out an absolute legend, an absolute masher with the ephus pitch. And after he retired, he went to work with the Red Sox, who he never played with, actually. But he went on to work as a commentator and a consultant. He then served as a sports psychologist for the Red Sox after he went back to college and got a degree. So look, even he went back to college. Look at that guy thinking about his future. And then he was inducted into the St. Leo, which was the college he went to, St. Leo Sports Hall of Fame in 1998. And I did see later he was inducted into his high school team's Hall of Fame and a little bit later. I think it was honestly 2018 because it said it was like their inaugural class. They didn't have one before. So shout out to my boy Bob Tewksbury, one of the best pitchers at not walking people, keeping people off the base paths. His whip was probably unreal. I didn't really see that, but congratulations to Bob Tewksbury. We're thinking about you, and congratulations on a nice career. So that's all that I got for this week, guys. Pardon me for coughing so much. As I said, the allergies are really killing me. My throat is really killing me, but I'm powering through. We got a great episode done. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. Saw the birthdays for today. Some great players. Today in history is actually pretty interesting. All that stuff. I hope you had a great time. Pardon my voice crack. Hope you had a great time. And I will see you next week for the next episode. See ya.